A very good morning to all of you. Let me begin, first of all, by thanking all of you for my being here today. It's indeed an honor for me to speak to youngsters especially, who are going to make very, very important choices in the environments that they are going to fill tomorrow. For me, alchemy of choice, like to go through some experiences of my life. Human beings, I believe, have the power of choice. They have the power to choose to make their life how they wish. I guess they, among the innumerable species, are the ones who are endowed with the power of mind, who can create, who can think, who can make choices. And it is because of these innumerable choices of men and women over millions of years that has created the world that we live in today. Some of these choices led to big wars, led to mayhem, led to plunder, and some choices led to non-violence, the path of ahimsa, the path of love. While these choices led to the very edifice and what mankind stands for, I believe it is our own individual choices that are so very important to us. Our small choices make a difference not only to our lives, but to the lives of those that we relate with. Coming to my own life as a police officer, the journey of my own choice, there were times, very difficult times, when one had to stand up for justice, one had to stand up for the poor, for the downtrodden. There were times, as a young police officer, suddenly when I would see armed men at time of election paraded through the cities, creating fear among the people, I had to stand up against my own officers. There were times when I remember in very, very important investigating cases of very, very important men, high-profile cases, even before the Supreme Court, I stood my ground. These are choices that you make. These are very, very important choices that you make that not only make a difference to you, but also to the people that look up to you. While at one side, she spoke of, when she mentioned out here that yes, I was awarded the gallantry, yes, that is what the public speaks for you. While at the other end, yes, you always have the Demosthenes sword over your head that you may be transferred out or you could be punished. But we make very small choices compared to the choices that great men make. Be it Gandhi, be it what today I'm going to talk about is Martin Luther King. He fought against and he took the choice of fighting for the black against the discrimination of the white. He took the choice to go behind the bars. And he spoke very important lines that if we do not fight for the injustice that is happening, someday that injustice will come at our doorsteps. So what is the choice that we have before us? He spoke of the tyranny of the few, and he also spoke of the silence of the good men. He said that if you're going to be silent, that is something that you will have to think about. And dear friends, when I speak this, I wish to convey to you, because you're youngsters, tomorrow you are going to lead your men and women wherever you are. If you do not stand for that injustice, and if you are silent, you are as bad as the bad man. Coming to my next slide, you must have read this beautiful book, To Kill a Mockingbird. Harper Lee sets this book in 1930s, Alabama state, a highly racist state of America. The lawyer, Atticus in this, decides to defend the rights of the black man against the white man. For this, the white men are up against arms against him. He and his 2 children have to bear the brunt of their insults. It is then when he speaks and says that while I can learn to live with those folks, I have to live with myself. I have to live with my conscience. And dear friends, again, this is the conscience that we must think about. This is what we must think about. Do we have the strength? Do we have the courage? Do we have the power to fight against what is the injustice that will confront us? And each of us, at each moment of our life, wherever we are confronted with this justice. We see justice all around. Are we silent spectators in that injustice? Sometimes even our conscience cannot help us. This is a very, very thin border line that I'm talking about. I remember a 4.5-year-old child kidnapped in one of the places that I was working in. There was this tension of this child being kidnapped. We were able to apprehend a boy we suspected. About 15 to 16 hours of grueling questioning and interrogation, and we took us around not only that city where I was working, but the adjoining city, saying that he's kept the child here, he's kept the child there. 15 hours took the tension. You can imagine the expectations from the public, the people, your own. It's like a ticking bomb syndrome. Each moment is very important. There is the child. Each one feels that, yes, it is my duty to save that child. It is then, I remember, nearly after 15 hours when I took the decision, and I told my officers that you tell the boy that we are going to put him through extreme torture. That somehow made the boy come out with the truth. The young little boy, 4.5 years, was recovered, brutally killed, and he had put him in a flower pot, covered it with mud. The question before us is here. Where is that line? Where is that thin line that we need to cross or not? Where is our conscience? Maybe that will happen in your own organizations. How will you stand up for that organizational culture, the societal norms? Will we be able to do that? That thin line is very, very important. The same question came up before a German court, similar circumstances. What the policemen had done was also reviewed. The judge came about and said, and held the police officers guilty. He said even the threat of torture was crossing that line. He said it is an extremely slippery slope. While he held them guilty, he also said he could understand the ticking bomb syndrome. He could understand the intense pressure. And he said that, yes, while I do punish them, while I do hold them guilty, I will exonerate them, not punish them. Sometimes, maybe, can we strategize? This is a beautiful example I like to talk about. There was this high tension, Hindu and the Muslim community both up in arms against each other because the previous night an old Muslim lady had died, and the Muslim family had buried that woman in their part of the field. Accidentally, some portion of her also got buried in the Hindu land. The Hindus are adamant that the lady needs to be exhumed. The Muslims were adamant that as per their Shariat, they will not allow it to be exhumed. So what? Soon, villages in UP, crowds come in thousands. There's pressure. One side the Hindus, one side the Muslims, each up in arms that we will not agree to what you want. So one of the police officers came up with this beautiful idea. He said, why don't we dig a tunnel? So he dug a tunnel, the side of the Muslim side, the lady, and slowly the Muslim lady, the lady was pulled to the other side and into the Muslim field. So yes, can we strategize in the organizations? Can we think? Can we be cool? Can we take decisions that can be very, very useful? Sometimes it may happen that you may be pushed into your decisions, into your choices. You all would have read this book, this beautiful book on shooting an elephant. George Orwell, while an STPO, a police officer working in Burma, suddenly was informed that an elephant had gone on rampage. It had gone must. So he was expected to go and shoot the elephant. He picked up his rifle, more for the reason that he wanted to take care of himself rather than shoot the elephant, because he had no idea how to shoot the elephant, and that even with a rifle that couldn't shoot an elephant. Anyway, he proceeded. Soon he had throngs of people following him, the crowd growing larger and larger, expectant. Expectant why? Because they were excited. The public is always excited. Now they're going to see a shooting of an elephant. Finally, when they see the elephant is as mild as a cow because it was no longer must. He knew at that point of time that he must not kill the elephant. But when he looks back, the writer says, the yellow, expectant faces looking at him for the reason that they wanted him to kill the elephant. He says, So as not to look a fool in the eyes of those people, he killed the elephant, brutally killed the elephant. Dear friends, I have said here, will we shoot our elephants? How will we deal with these situations? This is ultimately our conscience that again will speak for the choices that we will make. Coming to my next slide, this is again a very, very beautiful slide. It talks about how we tend to rationalize the choices that we make. Have we not rationalized the choices that we have made? Each point, each moment when we lie, when we tell the untruth, we always rationalize the choice. Here is this beautiful story, the parable of the sadhu. 4 different groups of people from 4 different nationalities wanting to climb an 18,000 feet pass, go across a pass, a treacherous pass, a difficult pass. Very, very excited, no? Early at 3:30 in the morning, they get up. Some of them not feeling very physically fit to climb across the pass also. Anyway, they start the walk. The New Zealanders leave earlier. And then the American, who one of them was also the writer, he also follows. At 15,500 feet, he suddenly sees one of the New Zealanders coming back, a body slung on his shoulders, and he literally dumps it in front of this mountaineer, the American writer. And he says, I've done my bit, you do your bit, and he's very angry and leaves. Because the sadhu, the half-naked sadhu, barefooted sadhu, was nearly dead. The others were kind enough to give him clothes. The Japanese gave him some water and food, but they did not agree to give him the pony that would take him down the slope. The Sherpas left him on a mountain and said, okay, that was a sunny sight. And all left, the sadhu died or lived, one doesn't know. In the end, the author's friend Stephen questions him that he must be very happy having reached the summit and left a human being to die. The author says that what right had the sadhu, a barefooted sadhu, a naked sadhu, come down a treacherous path when he had another path to go by? He said, after all, didn't we come with the idea of crossing this mountain? He said, ultimately, that didn't we all do our share? Dear friends, this is the point where I would like to pause, to think. This is a time where our ethics, our organizational ethics, our choices that we make, our choices not only affect us, but also affect all that is around us, our family, our organizations, our society, and what I said in the beginning, it is the whole edifice of mankind. Madam already mentioned this. Yes, I would also like to say that yes, these are the 2 difficult or different roads that we have. Do we have the courage? Do we have the conviction? Can we make the conscious choice of following the difficult path? And difficult path, here I talk of upholding the justice. Seeing that injustice is happening in front of you, are you able to take the right path? Are you able to stand up for all that is valued in the society? And in the end, these beautiful lines, I would like to leave you with you. वो पथ क्या पथिक, जिस पथ पर वो पथ क्या पथिक कुशलता क्या, जिस पथ पर बिखरे शूल न हो, नाविक की धैर्य कुशलता क्या, जब धाराएं प्रतिकूल न हो. Thank you very much. धन्यवाद.